Hi everyone, I'm Susan from SusanWinter.net. So I want to talk today about rerouting and handling an emotional meltdown, because it can happen to any one of us and it can happen at the most inopportune time. I was recently with a friend and a colleague, and here we are in the middle of Columbus Circle in this lovely tea store and having some tea, and he began to process a relationship that had ended 7 or 8 months ago. A convergence of information and things happened, and that was the moment. That was the time. You never know when you're done processing something. I remember when my father died. My mother kept it together through the funeral, through all of the people visiting, through all the cards that came into her, and then the dog died about a year later. And my mother had not cried during the entire time my father died. Not one tear. The dog died, she lost it for days. So the trigger might be directly connected, or it might be way distant. You might have a reaction to something that happened a year, 6 months ago. And now you're going to chastise yourself because you're going through this processing. I have a way to handle an emotional meltdown where you, one, acknowledge it, let it come out, but two, get back to your life. And the reason that that's important is we can't repress this stuff. When it's going to come out, we need to let it out. It's healthy. But you might be just about to go on stage for a speech, finishing a business deal you've been working on for 3 years, or just in front of people at a time that it's not convenient, somebody's wedding, and you want to start crying. So let's talk about what to do. Okay, so here's my suggestion. It comes, it overtakes you. So this is what I call going down the rabbit hole. I've seen the most intelligent, grounded people call me. Of course, I get not just your calls, I get everybody's calls. Imagine my friends. Okay, my phone is ringing all the time. It's like, oh, I'll call Susan. But whether it's a breakup or whatever, and so then it's like, and then this happened, and then that happened. Oh, and then I drove the car today, and I got in an accident, and then that happened, and it's like, oh, my life is horrible. This is what I call this accumulation, the snowball going down the hill that becomes like starts an avalanche. This is going down the rabbit hole. And it's very easy when one thing happens and you get a trigger and you get the sadness for this meltdown to occur where you grab everything around you, because that's what the mind does. It's like, oh, we're having a meltdown. Oh, good, let me grab this one. Oh, and this wasn't very nice, and this was horrible. And it all comes down upon you. I used to liken it to a little girl sitting in my room and my dolly broke. That's the one thing, right? The first trigger. And then I notice, oh, and that doll, the arm is cockeyed, and oh, that little animal, the tail is off. And then so you start amassing all your broken toys in the center of the room. How could you not be depressed? Look at the aggregate. Look at this. Now, knowing that that's our human nature, okay, to get on a tangent and roll with it, my suggestion is let it go. 5 minutes, put your watch on, your timer, take your iPhone, whatever. Give yourself a couple minutes and go with it. Then, when that timer goes off, or when you see the clock change on the wall, snap out of it and say, I've done it. I understand this. This is a part of human nature. If there's anything that comes up for you that you really need to take apart, make a note of it, okay? That's an important, sometimes at the end of all this coming in on itself, a little bit of information you didn't really think about starts bubbling up to the surface and it stays there. And we want to capture that because we want to know what is underneath that. We want to write it down, we want to take a look at it. If you go to a therapist, present this information. But understand that the way we're constructed to keep it together and attend to business and not indulge in being too, out of sorts. While that is good and productive for a society, there are times that you're going to hit a glitch, and all the right factors, your mood, things you hear, the circumstances around you, are going to converge. And this perfect storm will happen where you will have a meltdown, okay? These can be brief, they can be momentary. What we don't want to do is indulge. And the reason that we don't indulge anything negative is that it creates a pathway. Once you do it, you don't want it to become a habit. I have seen people crawl down the rabbit hole and stay there. They like to stay. I don't know if maybe they're getting sympathy or they get some kind of attention from people that masks as feeling loved. This is dangerous. You don't want to get your goodies from being down there and setting yourself up for having to stay there, right? Negative thoughts, we don't indulge them. We notice them passing by. We reroute them with the context that we would like to live, what we'd like to create, what we'd like to actualize. But we don't indulge in the negative. That's very important. Observe it, decode it, don't live in it. And then you don't have to crawl out of the rabbit hole. You don't have to crawl all the way up the mountain. Once you've let this pass, it's over. And that's it. I'm going to try and... This is New York City for you. Okay, I can't do anything about this, guys. But listen, thank you so much for this. And I'm trying to respond to things that I've heard and that I've experienced throughout the week. And I will respond, of course, to your video requests. We do take a look at them. We get an awful lot of them, so we sift through. And you know, you may think, oh, it's been 3 months. She hasn't even done mine. You know, we could still get to it. It could be in the queue. Thank you, those of you that are reaching me on Magnifi. I'm so in love with this system. I'm telling you, it's so great to hear from you. Be able to change what's going on in the moment and time that it's occurring. And also thank you, those of you that are taking consulting packages with me. I really, really appreciate that. It's awesome. Great to get to know you and great to see that forward movement by the end of our session. I really appreciate that. Thank you, everyone. Have a great week.